Caitlin Clark has suffered yet another hard foul, and the referees failed to make a call.
It is a mad situation just all around when it comes to Caitlin Clark, because it's very clear that she is way stronger.
The Indiana Fever did finish the WNBA preseason undefeated. Caitlin has always been an underrated athlete. She's the fastest player in the league to me with the ball in her hands, and she was the best guard finishing around the rim last year.
Caitlin Clark still getting assaulted with no fouls called.
Caitlin Clark just got hammered on the court again. No foul, no protection, nothing.
This is another year and another case of WNBA referees dropping the ball, not making the right calls when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
If you're fed up with the refs ignoring these blatant hits, drop 100% in the comments to show your support for Caitlin. Despite the abuse, Clark torched the Atlanta Dream and led the Fever to another win.
And here are some of the highlights, like this lob pass Caitlin Clark makes to DB for the bucket, and then this really nice three-pointer that she sank. And the Indiana Fever come away with a dub, 81-76.
Let's break down exactly what happened and why this is turning into the biggest scandal in the WNBA right now. What happened in this game wasn't just a missed call, it was a flat-out scandal. Early in the matchup against the Atlanta Dream, Caitlin Clark drove hard to the basket and got absolutely leveled.
It's very clear that she is rusty. She is very, very rusty. And it's also, we are seeing teams throw multiple different coverages at her in preseason.
But y'all won't call it. Y'all will call that. But y'all won't call it. Y'all see the confusion here? Do y'all not see the confusion? Because there's confusion here. Y'all will call that. Y'all, let's go down and read some of these replies, bro, because this is just ridiculous, man. This whole thing with these referees, I thought they went in a lab, they hired new referees. We wasn't going to have this situation this year.
A clear, heavy blow to the head. She immediately turned to the referee, her face showing complete disbelief, as if saying, "Did you not just see that?" But the refs, they stood frozen. No whistle, no foul, nothing.
The Indiana Star released an article like 5 minutes ago at the conclusion of the game about this technical foul situation and about the WNBA referees, bro. Let's head on over right now to check it out. It stated Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark picks up technical foul in preseason final against the Atlanta Dream. And what's crazy is that y'all will call a technical foul on her, but won't call her actually getting fouled. Like, what is going on here, bro?
This wasn't an isolated play either. All game long, Clark was on the receiving end of hard contact, elbows, arm grabs, and somehow not a single trip to the free throw line. Let that sink in. Caitlin Clark, one of the most aggressive and high-usage guards in the league, finished her entire preseason without shooting a single free throw. 2 games, 0 free throw attempts.
Why is that? New year, Caitlin Clark still getting assaulted, though, bruh. Why is we back here? That's what I'm not getting, bro. We're back with the same situation again, bro, over and over and over again. One fan stated she has yet to shoot a single free throw. Yes, bro. I bet y'all didn't even know that.
You're telling me a player who handles the ball as much as Clark does, who attacks the rim relentlessly, never got fouled? Fans noticed. One viral comment summed it up perfectly. New year, Caitlin Clark still getting assaulted with no fouls called. And just when you think it couldn't get more absurd, the referees doubled down. After another rough possession where Clark got hit on a drive, she argued with the officials. Instead of acknowledging the clear contact, the refs slapped Clark with a technical foul.
So this is what happened. Somebody said, New year, Caitlin Clark still getting assaulted with no fouls called. No call whatsoever. No call whatsoever. But they will call Caitlin Clark getting a technical. They will call Caitlin Clark getting a technical foul, bro.
Yeah, they ignored the hit and then penalized her for speaking up about it. This is where things really start to get ugly. Remember, Clark came into the season promising to cut back on technical fouls. She told Coach Stephanie White she'd only pick up 2 techs all year.
Caitlin Clark did promise Coach Stephanie White that she would only get 2 techs for the season, and she has already received her first before the season started. No, this does not count towards the season technical fouls, but if she is promising Steph White 2 techs for the season and has already received her second tech in her second game, I wouldn't bet on her only getting 2 techs. But you know, it is Caitlin Clark, and whatever she puts her mind to, she can usually accomplish.
She's already got 1, and the regular season hasn't even started. Articles are already circulating about Clark's tense relationship with WNBA referees, and fans are furious.
Stephanie White, at the beginning of the year, stated in a press conference that Caitlin Clark said that she was going to be looking around, maybe picking up 3 technical fouls. I got a hard time believing that. Judging off the referee situation, man, we're back at square one again, guys. We're back here again, bro, with these damn referees not calling nothing, bro.
Let's be clear. This isn't the first time this has happened to Caitlin Clark. It's a pattern dating back to her college days and into her rookie WNBA season. Time and time again, she takes hits that other players would get automatic foul calls for, but somehow when it happens to her, the whistle stays silent. To top it off, even in this preseason finale against Atlanta, despite being battered, Clark wasn't even given a single free throw opportunity. 2 games, 0 attempts. That's not just suspicious, that's damning. If this is what Clark is going to face all season, the WNBA is going to have a massive controversy on its hands. Now here's where things get even more impressive. And frankly, where Caitlin Clark silenced every single critic in the arena. Because despite getting hacked, slapped, and hammered with no protection from the referees, Caitlin didn't back down.
Stated Caitlin Clark is known to be a competitive and fiery player, frequently talking to the referees or hitting the stanchion out of frustrations when calls don't go her way. In some cases, including Saturday, that leads to a technical foul.
She did what superstars do. She locked in, rose above the chaos, and flat out destroyed the Atlanta Dream. Let's talk about the numbers first. In just 23 minutes of action, Clark posted 13 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists.
Caitlin Clark did come away with 13 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists, which she was in for 23 minutes. This is potentially flirting with a triple-double here. Her defense was okay in the first half. She came back a little later with a little bit of better defense.
And remember, that's with limited playing time in a preseason rotation, and after taking several hard hits that would have rattled most players. If this had been a full regular season game with extended minutes, she was easily on pace to flirt with a triple-double. Her shot was pure all night long. Clark came out firing with deep 3-pointers that had Atlanta's defense scrambling from the jump.
How easily she's getting off the 3-point looks and shooting them. And from where they're coming from when she does indeed hit them. You know, just comes off and cash. It's easy money.
Early on, she casually stepped back from way beyond the arc and buried a 3 with that signature smooth release. Nothing but net. Then she did it again and again. The Dream defenders knew it was coming and still couldn't stop her. One commentator even said, "It's like she's shooting from the parking lot and making it look easy." And it wasn't just the scoring. Clark's court vision was on full display. She dropped dimes left and right, threading bounce passes through traffic to Dana Bonner on fast breaks, firing cross-court lasers to Sophie Cunningham for corner 3s.
The Indiana Fever were doing a lot of testing out of rotations. They had Sophie Cunningham start, which, by the way, I have been saying she could work her way into that starting position, and they tested it out. It's still kind of surprising because they did start her over DeWanna Bonner, and that was the only thing that did give me pause about potentially starting Sophie Cunningham, because she would be taking over DeWanna Bonner's position. And DeWanna Bonner is pretty elite. You know, she's a vet. She is a sniper when she gets going, and she is pesky on defense.
And feeding Aaliyah Boston cutting to the basket with pinpoint precision. These weren't simple passes. They were high IQ, high difficulty plays that most guards don't even attempt, let alone execute. What's more impressive is how physically strong Clark looked this game. Coming into this season, she put on noticeable muscle mass, and you could see the results. Even after contact, she stayed on her feet, finished plays, and got right back on defense.
She shot a bunch of it, and it's been the whole preseason where it looks to me like on her deepest shots, she is just getting them off like they're nothing, like they're routine. Because nobody else is shooting from this distance regularly, and she's doing it with a flick of the wrist. How easily it looks like she's shooting those threes and hitting those threes in the clip that she's doing it, going to the rack, all these various things that show she's even stronger than she was a year ago. And you see it in the strong numbers. I mean, 13 points, 6 boards, 7 assists in 23 minutes of action.
On one fast break drive, Ryan Howard, known as one of the stronger, more physical guards, tried to bump Clark off her line. Clark barely budged and finished with a clean layup. That kind of strength is exactly why so many experts say she's leveled up her game this year. And here's the kicker. Clark did all of this while clearly playing with controlled aggression. She knew the refs weren't going to give her the benefit of the doubt, so she adjusted. She didn't get rattled. Instead, she channeled that frustration into laser focus, orchestrating the Fever offense like a seasoned pro. And the results showed. The Indiana Fever walked away with an 81-76 victory, closing out their preseason undefeated.
The Indiana Fever did finish the WNBA preseason undefeated. Caitlin has always been an underrated athlete. She's the fastest player in the league to me with the ball in her hands, and she was the best guard finishing around the rim last year.
But Clark's impact went beyond the box score. When she was on the floor, the Fever's pace and energy skyrocketed. Her teammates fed off her fire. Players like Lexi Hull and Kelsey Mitchell got open looks because Clark was drawing double teams. Aaliyah Boston had more room to operate in the paint because defenders were stretched out, trying to guard Clark's deep range. The entire offense flowed smoother with her in control. Let's not forget, this is all happening in the preseason. These games don't even count, and Caitlin Clark is already setting the tone like a franchise player. She's making it clear to the entire league that no matter how physical teams get with her, no matter how often the refs swallow their whistles, she's still going to run the show and put points on the board. And that's what makes this so dangerous for opposing teams.
She is highly likable. I think that lends itself to her popularity is she comes across as somebody that's really just respectful, likable. There's other players out there that just don't come across that way.
They can rough her up all they want, but if she keeps torching defenses like this and pulling her teammates into rhythm, it's going to be a long, painful season for anyone standing in Indiana's way. Caitlin Clark isn't just making history. She's rewriting the playbook on what one athlete can do for an entire league. From shattering attendance records and igniting national conversations to transforming the way women's basketball is played and watched, Clark's fingerprints are all over the WNBA's meteoric rise this season. But make no mistake, this journey hasn't been easy for her. She's faced targeted fouls, unfair technical calls, media smear campaigns, and even resentment from rival players who underestimated just how powerful her presence would be. And despite all of that, she's still here, elevating the game, inspiring millions, and carrying the weight of an entire league on her back without flinching. If you're like me and believe that Caitlin Clark deserves nothing but respect, protection, and praise for everything she's doing for women's basketball, then show it. Drop 100% emoji in the comments right now to let the world know you stand with Caitlin Clark. Let's drown out the noise, silence the haters, and remind everyone that this league is thriving because of her brilliance. Your voice matters. And together...
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. Just so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin Clark.
Social media exploded after the game with clips, screenshots, and breakdowns of all the missed calls. The viral tweet saying, "New Year, Caitlin Clark still getting assaulted with no fouls called," isn't just a joke. It's the growing sentiment among WNBA viewers. They're seeing what's happening, and they're calling it out loud and clear. But here's where it gets deeper. It's not just about Clark getting fouled. It's about the message that the league is sending. Caitlin Clark is arguably the biggest star the WNBA has seen in years. She's drawn millions of new fans to the league, skyrocketed TV ratings, sold out arenas, and packed stadiums that were half empty just a season ago. Whether you love her or hate her, she's the face of the WNBA right now. So if the referees won't protect her, if the league allows this targeting to continue unchecked, what kind of message does that send to other players, fans, and sponsors? And we haven't even touched on the post-game drama yet, because when the final buzzer sounded, the tensions didn't cool off. They spilled over. Aaliyah Boston and Naz Hillman got tangled up in what looked like an aggressive shove during the handshake line.
And there was an interesting moment between Aaliyah Boston and Naz Hillman that people were not sure about what happened. It looked like Naz Hillman just went up and started checking AB, like she was acting like a puppy, like not doing anything. And it actually ended up that it was they were just playing around. Aaliyah Boston made a post clarifying to everybody because, you know, everybody goes to bat for Aaliyah Boston. You don't mess with our center. And while it did look kind of aggressive, this was them just kind of playing around.
Ryan Howard was seen playfully but aggressively interacting with Clark, even giving her what looked like a sweaty, wet willy on the sideline. Sure, some of it may have been playful, but you can feel the underlying edge in these interactions. This isn't just friendly competition anymore. There's real animosity building between teams, and much of it is orbiting around Clark. It doesn't stop there. The media narratives are starting to shift too. Articles are popping up left and right, questioning whether referees are intentionally ignoring fouls on Clark to put her in her place or teach her a lesson. Pundits are debating whether Clark's fiery style and confidence have painted a target on her back. And let's be honest, there are players around the league who don't like the spotlight Clark has brought. They don't like the attention, they don't like the hype, and some of them are using physicality to send a message.
The Indiana Fever did finish the WNBA preseason undefeated. Caitlin has always been an underrated athlete. She's the fastest player in the league to me with the ball in her hands, and she was the best guard finishing around the rim last year.
And here's where the WNBA leadership is playing with fire. If they allow this pattern to continue, if they don't start holding referees accountable and enforcing fair play, they risk alienating not just Clark, but the millions of new fans she's brought into the league. Fans aren't going to stick around to watch their favorite player get targeted and silenced game after game. They want fair competition, not street fights masquerading as basketball. Let's be crystal clear, physical play is part of basketball. Nobody is saying Caitlin Clark shouldn't get bumped or defended hard.
Defense is a lot improved. Her on-ball defense, and it actually looks pretty good. Her off-ball defense is still horrendous.
But there's a line between tough defense and outright assaults with no whistles, and we all saw that line get crossed in this game. More than once. If the WNBA doesn't step in soon, this tension is going to boil over. We're looking at a powder keg, and it's just waiting for one more bad call or dirty foul to explode into a full-blown controversy that could stain the league's reputation. The question now is simple. Will the WNBA protect its stars and clean up its officiating? Or will they keep letting this slide and watch the drama spiral out of control? Caitlin Clark just sent a message to the entire league. You can hit her, you can hack her, but you can't stop her. The refs might ignore the fouls.
I love the WNBA refs. Like, and this is in all the games. They will call phantom fouls and ignore hacks. There will be phantom fouls called, and then a player will be going in for a layup and just make no attempt on playing the ball, just play this part of the arm, and the refs will say all ball. But yeah, it is a mad situation just all around when it comes to Caitlin Clark, because it's very clear that she is way stronger. It's very clear that she is rusty. She is very, very rusty. And it's also, we are seeing teams throw multiple different coverages at her in preseason.
But Clark is still going to torch defenses and lead her team to victory. But now it's your turn. I want to hear from you.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy.
This is the best day ever.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
Do you think the refs are targeting Caitlin Clark? And should the WNBA step in before this gets out of hand? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget, if you stand with Caitlin, type 100% to show your support loud and clear. Smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next update, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.